Welcome to another video. I'm Todd from First Cut Sawmill. Got an exciting project for you today. For today's project, we're going to take this 1-inch board, cut all the way through it with an oval shape to create this happy home sign that has some sentimental value for my wife. I'll tell you more about that story in the video, so let's get started. Here's a picture of the sign from my in-laws' home that my wife wanted us to recreate for our home. It is a very nice phrase that describes the state of our home. There's a bit more to this story, but I'll get into that further in the video. Because the workpiece I started with was not fully planed, I wanted to have the CNC create a flattened surface to engrave on. To do this, in the easel software I first created an oval, the shape of the project, and set it to a depth of 0.1 inches. Then all of the letters were cut with a V-bit were set to a depth of 0.25 inches, which would result in the letters being cut at a depth of 0.15 inches. I set up the router so it was placed at the bottom left-hand corner of the workpiece. Zeroed out the G-code sender software, turned on the router, and was ready to start cutting. The main project called for 2 tool paths. The first roughing pass was done with an 1/8-inch bit and made 2 surfacing passes, each cut at a depth of 0.05 inches. Here is the second surfacing pass to complete the flattening process. Looks like we are done with the roughing pass. Time for the next step. You may have noticed the router bit nicked one of the clamps slightly when it completed the pass and went back to the home position. That's what I call an oops. I changed the bit to a V-bit, reset the CNC router to 0 at the bottom left corner, started the router, and began the detailed cut. So here is more info on the story of why the sign meant so much to my wife. Although she would say we do it together, I'm blessed to have married a woman who works very hard at keeping our home clean and tidy with everything in its place. She learned this from her mother, who, although she had 4 kids to take care of, always kept a very clean home. But it wasn't perfect. My wife's frustration is she never achieves the perfection she is striving for. This sign helps her understand that's okay. For this pass, it looks like the tool path was generated to cut the letters moving from left to right along the workpiece. Why it didn't just cut each word out fully and then move on, I'm not sure. But no problem, I said no worries. To cut out the sign, I created another oval shape, cut as an outline, set at a depth of 1 inch, the full thickness of the workpiece. Additionally, I made sure the shape was set to use tabs to hold the piece in place, and I used the default 4 tabs. Then I generated the G-code. The biggest thing to remember when you're cutting fully through the workpiece is to make sure the bit you're using is long enough. I learned this one the hard way on a previous project. When having the tool path cut through the entire workpiece, be sure your feed rates and your plunge rates are not too extreme, and the process works without a hitch. And with that, it's time to remove the oval cutout sign from the workpiece. Since I used the double stip tape method, just some simple prying and out it comes. From here we sanded the outer edges of the workpiece, rounding over the sharp edges for a more finished look, and it was time for stain. We used a dark staining for this piece, applied 2 coats concentrating on making sure the stain got into the engraved lettering. Although the initial sign came out great, my wife decided she wanted it to be more gray to match our decor. So a gray stain was applied and the letters were painted black with a fine brush. After a quick coat of spray-on sealer, the sign was finally complete, and she loves it. Hope you enjoyed this video. I've been having a lot of fun making these projects for you, and I've got a lot of exciting projects coming up in the next few weeks. So make sure you stick around. And like I always say, if you like these videos, please hit the subscribe button, comment below, and share them with your friends. Bye!